Hey guys, it's Mike with Carolina Aquatics. Showing off the newest shipment that we got that really had me excited. That's a shipment from Central Africa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. And the Congo is home to a number of really incredible fish species, some of which are really popular in the trade and always kind of hard to get and scarce. It's always a little bit of an extra challenge to get Congo fish into the US, but in this case, this shipment was absolutely worth it. We were really excited to see a bunch of healthy, beautiful, uncommon fish. In front of me now is probably the most sought after, most popular fish that comes out of Central Africa, the Mbu Puffer, Tetradon Mbu. These guys are a huge, true freshwater puffer known only from the Congo River Basin in Central Africa. They don't go anywhere near saltwater or brackish. They're personable, they're beautiful, they have incredible coloration, and they get huge. These are a true aquatic pet, something that's going to interact with you, something that is a lot of fun to feed. They'll beg for food, they'll get to know their owners, and they're just an amazing, intelligent animal that looks incredible in a huge display tank. Like a lot of their close relatives, the Mbu puffers are carnivores. In the wild, they feed on freshwater crustaceans almost exclusively. So in the aquarium, you want to give them a diet of crayfish, ghost shrimp, frozen shrimp, any kind of crustacean with a hard outer shell is great. They'll eat a lot of insect-based food, so a lot of people who keep them feed them cockroaches or any other hard-shelled insects. But you want to stay away from like bloodworms and some of the other stuff that's more popular with like cichlids and South America stuff. They need that hard shell in their diet, and it keeps their beak worn down. They're intelligent, personable fish. They love a good amount of current in the water, and they're very playful. So if you have aeration or rock features in the tank, they'll interact with them. A bit hit or miss with Mbu puffers whether they'll do well with other fish, but I know of several large display aquariums that have them coexisting with other fish just fine. So I guess they're safe with other fish with caution. Another incredibly popular freshwater puffer from the Congo River Basin is the African spotted puffer, Congo spotted puffer, or Shoutedena puffer. They go by a lot of names, and in fact, were one of the most common freshwater pufferfish in the hobby maybe 60, 70 years ago. In the intervening years, it's been much, much more difficult to get fish out of the Congo due to instability and logistics. But these are very popular fish because they cohabitate in groups very nicely. They're peaceful towards almost all other tank mates, and they don't get too big. So they're a great option if you have a medium-sized tank and you want to do a group of these, but don't just want to have one fish in the tank. They'll get along with most tank mates just fine. Very peaceful, very colorful, and interesting fish. They can be bred in the aquarium with some work, and there's awesome, interactive, inquisitive fish that look great in a freshwater display. These guys, like the Mbus, go nowhere near the ocean, so they're true freshwater, do not require salt or brackish conditions. Definitely one of the highlights of this Africa shipment was an albino West African lungfish. These are something you definitely don't see every day. Even the standard normal pigmented forms of the African lungfish are pretty uncommon in the hobby and the trade. So every once in a great while, only out of the Congo, can you get a collector go find one of these pure albino form. Pink eyes, no pigment whatsoever. This is Protopteris dalloi, the West African lungfish. They are one of several species that are found in Africa. They get massive and are incredibly hardy. The albino form is just beautiful. Get those really distinctive pink eyes, no pigment whatsoever, all white. And I've known a couple of people who've kept some of these long term, and they got into the 30-inch range and just massive, massive fish, but really become interactive like a pet. This is something not cheap at all and for collectors only, but would make an amazing display in a tank to itself or in a retail setting in a big display aquarium. It's just unmistakable, really impressive fish. A true rarity. All African lungfish, they have those really unique little spaghetti-looking arms and legs. They're appendages that are adapted for sensory functions, so they feel around their surroundings with those. They're often found in really muddy, murky waters, and their vision's very poor. So those are their primary sensory organs, those little arms and legs. They can use them as primitive locomotion devices on land and in mud, so they can kind of push themselves forwards on that. But it's a very ancient family of fish, been around since before the dinosaurs, and they look every bit it when you see them in person. One more from Congo, the Congo Puffer. These are Tetradon meuris. They're sometimes known as the potato puffer in the hobby. As you can see, they look kind of like a little potato and generally act like one. These guys are a bottom-dwelling ambush predator, very similar to what you see in Southeast Asia with the hairy puffers and the arrowhead puffers. There's This species is only found in the Congo River Basin, Central Africa, and there's two color forms of these. So you get a gray or tan color form, and then a very, very distinctive reddish orange. Really, really pretty fish. These are the more sought after ones, definitely a little pricier, but these are beautiful, interesting fish. Always alert, looking around, waiting for food to come at them. And they can move very quickly when food approaches. So these guys, they don't get very big, don't need a huge tank, but definitely be wary about any tank mates at all. They're probably more likely to eat them than they are to coexist with them. West and Central Africa is home to the bichirs, polypterus, whatever you want to call them. They're a really cool family of ancient fish, eel-like, but not really related to eels, heavily armored, and just super unique. Almost anybody who's been in the aquarium hobby and freshwater for a while will recognize these. There are many, many species and several undescribed forms, but out of the Congo come some of the most diverse groups of different bichirs or bichirs. The Mokole Mbembe bichir is part of the lower jaw group of bichirs. So they're separated into two types based on their jaw structure. The upper jaw is obvious. The upper jaw protrudes over the bottom, and the lower jaw does the opposite. These are a medium growing species. They're not as heavy bodied as some of the giants, but they have a really pretty pattern. They're very interesting fish. They get along well with each other and other bichirs. They do great with just about anything they can't eat. Unique paddle-like fins that they have on their side, or they're pretty effective, but kind of goofy at the same time. And they're just a beautiful, beautiful bichir for anybody who's a serious hobbyist. That mottled pattern with bands on the back, that yellowish coloration. These guys have often been misidentified in the trade, but we do a pretty good job here of making sure that what we're sending out is what it is. On the smaller end of the size spectrum, and some of my favorite African fish are the tenopalmas. Most people know, if you're even familiar with them in the hobby, it's the leopard tenopoma or leopard bushfish. That's a species that is fairly common in the hobby and is captive bred. But there's dozens of species of this group found throughout Africa, most of which barely ever make it into the aquarium trade. They're anabantoids, so related to the gouramis and bettas. They have a labyrinth organ, so they can breathe air at the surface. They're social fish and form interesting social hierarchies. And this species here, the banded tenopoma, as they get older, they develop a really pretty intricate pattern. It's not the most colorful fish. It's brown with highlights of yellow, as some people would say about, my favorite freshwater fish. But they're unique. They're fun to watch in a group. They get along well with tank mates, and it's just something completely different we don't often get here. Probably the most colorful and attractive of all the tenopalmas or bushfish is the ansorgii or ornate bushfish. These guys used to be tenopoma, but now they're in their own genus, microtenopoma. They are from black water, very acidic areas in the Congo Basin, shallow water mostly, not a lot of current. Similar environments to what you'd find bettas and certain anabantoids like licorice gouramis in Southeast Asia. And they're very similar fish behavior-wise. These guys are beautiful. They're feisty. They develop little territories and interact with each other very, very well. But of course, the main attraction with these is that beautiful banded pattern with reds and blues. We're really excited to have a shipment of large size one come in, because they often come in really, really tiny with very little color on them. So these ones are actually starting to show that distinctive banded pattern. And when they're happy or fired up, it really comes through. It's a beautiful, beautiful fish. The smallest, but maybe the most exciting species we got in from Congo this last shipment is the African butterfly barb, Barbus hulstardi. These guys are something I've seen in pictures and in magazines since I was a kid. They're beautiful little fish and just almost unobtainable for the last couple of years in the aquarium hobby. Just something you do not see. They're only found in the Congo Basin, and they're known as a delicate shipper. So we were really excited to get a big batch of them that came in perfect, healthy, flawless, eating, good size. They're starting to show their really distinctive yellow coloration. That pattern is beautiful and totally unique. Really no other fish that looks like this. So we're happy to offer these for the first time at Carolina Aquatics. and hopefully it's something we'll have somewhat more readily available going forward.